Okay, hi there, it's Kara here again. Today I'm going to do an oil change in my Ryker Rally 900. This manual is a great reference for this kind of work and something that you should definitely refer to as you're doing this. But first of all, I'm going to tell you the tools that we're going to use to do the job. This is a kit that you can get from BRP and it costs about $75 Canadian. It has everything you need to do the job. We have all the oil that we need in here. There's 3.76 I think, and I think we need 3.2 to do the oil change. Comes with a filter cartridge. That's that. And then, of course, we have the gasket set. One for the filter and two for the drain plugs. And that's what you get in this kit. Everything you need to do the job. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you now some of the tools that you'll need to get this job done. And I've got them all right here. So, a couple ratchets. 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch will do. Some extensions here. A 17 mil socket. This will be used for one of the drain plugs. And then we have a small Torx. This is a 30, and this will be used to put the cap on the filter housing. And this one here, this is a 40 Torx, and this will be used to put the drain plugs back in. And of course they have to be torqued to specifications. Very, very important. So we have an inch torque and a foot-pound torque, and you'll see how we use these later. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first step in this oil change is to make sure your machine is at operating temperature. And you'll know this by your gauge here. 5 bars is operating temperature, and this will aid in the draining of the old oil. So that would be your first step. Very, very critical that this is done for ease of doing the whole job. Okay, as you can see, I've raised the machine up very securely. And this is not needed, but it makes it a lot easier to get into the drain plugs, and it makes it a lot easier for us to film this for you too. Okay, the next step is to remove a couple panels, and this is how that's done. We need to have this one come off so that we can have access to the oil filter. And in here, you'll feel 2 little tabs. If you just push them together, you can slide this right off. And there it is. Oil filter is right here. And we'll show you how to get that off here in a few minutes. Okay. And then this other panel on the clutch side, this needs to come off. So you'll just turn that and it'll open. Now you can leave this or you can take it off. I prefer to take it off just so it's easier to get into, and that's easily done by pushing on that and sliding it out. Done. So now we're ready to take all the fittings out and change the oil. Okay, first thing we're going to remove is the engine block drain, and this is done with the T30 Torx, and I've got the extension on here. T40, sorry, T40. Okay, so we'll just put that in there. And there we go. We'll take that right out. Okay, so one thing I didn't mention was the drain pan. We need to have a pan here for the oil to drain in. It's just common sense. But here we go. I took the ratchet off because it's easy now to turn. And I'll be able to get out of the way as the oil comes out. There we go. Okay, and it's always good to have paper towel on hand. So we'll let that drain. That is coming out of the engine block itself. The bigger drain is actually from the sump pump, which feeds the engine side.
Recording.
Okay, now I'm ready to take out the larger plug. And that did that. And here it comes. And there we go. Whoa! Okay. And that's that. There goes all the oil. Okay. Okay, now that the oil is draining, we're going to take out the oil filter. And that is this right here. That is the cap for it. I have placed some paper towel all around it because it can get messy, and as I lift the filter out and take the cap off, it's going to disperse some oil around there. So just to keep things neat and tidy, I've put that paper towel in there. One thing to remember, this one here, this little Torx screw here, you need to have your extension on and get between this pipe and the frame of the machine. So there we go, and crack it. Good. I can maybe do that by hand now. Okay, so we're just going to leave that there and we'll loosen all of them. And then I'll take them out by hand. Here's the second one. Okay, that one's good. And the third one. Actually, I'll loosen that one a little more. Okay, I think I can take these out by hand now. Okay, I've got a couple of the Torx 30T Torx taken out, and I'm just taking out the third one by hand here now. You want to be careful that you don't drop these because they might be a pain in the butt to get out from underneath. And there we go. Okay, off comes the cap. There we go. Now we have access to the filter. And that we can just lift out. There it goes. Okay, done deal. We've got the filter out, the oil should be drained, and let's finish this job. Okay, now we've cleaned up all the oil that was dispersed through here. Actually, the paper towel did a really good job of stopping the oil from getting anywhere. I'm pretty happy with that. And now we're able to install the filter. There is a protrusion down there, I think you can see, and this oil filter, it fits right in there, and it has to fit level so that there's no leaning to one side or the other and everything is in line. So we're just going to drop that in. There it goes. And then I'm just going to push on it. I did lube the rubber on the bottom of the filter to make it easier to put in. And I think that's it. Feels pretty good. And I think we're ready for the cap. Okay, so this is the way the cap came off. This is the way we're going to put it back on. And it just slips over just like that. And we can now install the torque screws. Just start them by hand, just lightly. And these should go on really, really easily. You do not want to cause any problems by stripping one of these. That would be a huge job to fix. So now I'm just going to take this and tighten them down, just barely snug, and then we will torque them according to specs. And I will show you in the manual where you can find that. So that's good. Okay, and one more, again, between this pipe and the frame of the bike. There it goes. Okay, so that's just barely tight, and we're going to put the inch torque on there and torque it down to specs, which you can find in the manual here on page 101. Oil filter cover screws, 80 inches, and so that's what we'll do. We've got just the wrench for that. Okay, now we're going to torque down these torque screws to 80 inch-pounds, and here we go.
Don't go over. Okay.
That's that one. That's that one. And that's that one. And I think I want to check this one again. Yeah, so we're good. Oil filter's in. Okay, now we're ready to reinstall the drain plugs. This is a larger one. It has an aluminum washer or gasket, sorry. And also a nifty little thing about this is there's a magnet in the middle of it, so any filings that come out from engine wear will be collected there instead of going through the engine. So that's a good safety thing. And I'm just going to put it in by hand right now. Okay, the larger plug is now in, and I'm ready to torque it down at 22 foot-pounds with the foot-pound wrench. So put that on there. Click. we go. One more. She's done. Well, right now we're ready to install the smaller drain plug. It has a brass gasket that helps seal the whole thing, and that is a brand new one. Needs to be changed with each oil change. I'll just slip that in by hand. Okay, the smaller drain plug is in now and needs to be torqued. You can find the torque specifications again in the manual. It is in inch pounds and it is 133 inch pounds. And so let's do that. There we go. Done deal. Okay, we have our filter in. We have our drain plugs with the new gaskets in. And we're at the point where we can start adding oil now. And so Can-Am has nicely supplied this nice little funnel. You can use it to add your oil, or if you need to use a jerry can to fill your gas tank up as well. Make sure it's clean. This sits here and can get road grime on it and dust and dirt, and that wouldn't be good to put into your oil reservoir. Okay, so this is going to go right where the dipstick is, which is right here. Pull that out. And then make sure this fits in nice and securely, and it will, just like that. And there it is. I'm ready to add oil. Okay, so when adding this oil, you want to do it slowly. If you don't, and this gets filled up solidly, it'll burp back at you and you'll have oil all over the place. So you'll be able to see it when you add it to make sure that any oil you're putting in is pushing air out. So here we go. And I'll just let it drain until it starts dripping a little bit, and then that's it. And we're going to use every bit of oil that Can-Am has supplied in the kit. That will be enough for the engine and the oil filter as well. Okay. Well, that looks good. Okay, we have all the oil in the engine now, and the funnel is back in place, the dipstick is back in place. Now we need to rewarm the machine up to operating at temperature. This is a really, really important step too. It has to be done in order to get a proper reading on the oil level. So we're going to do that right now. And while this is warming up, I'm going to look for leaks. And we'll be looking at the drain plugs and the filter area. All good there? There too. You may see some smoke from residual oil that came and went on parts after we removed the filter, as well as the oil I put on the O-ring when I seated the cap onto the canister. But everything looks good. We're going to let this warm up to operating temperature, and then we're going to check the oil. Okay, so again, we need to bring the machine up to operating at temperature so the oil can be warmed, and again is the 5 bars here, and this will enable us to get a proper measurement on the dipstick as we check that. Okay, so out comes the dipstick. We're going to shut the machine off. Clean it up. Put it back in. Screw it down. We have 10 seconds for this. Take it back out. There we go. Okay, what's our level? So my level here is showing at about 1/4 inch from the max. So I'm happy with that. That looks good. And yeah, it all looks good. So we'll just put that back in. Tighten her down. We've got no leaks. Our oil level is great. I think this is a job well done. So I hope this helped, and I tried to keep it as short as I could without getting into too much detail, but of course you can always ask me questions. You can go to my mentorship tab and ask me questions there, or just write on the forum. I'd be happy to help. Thank you. Bye.